Brandon's 3 chances. Brandon stood at the sink, scrubbing his hands raw. His reflection in the foggy mirror stared back, a young man with hollow eyes, fear etched deep into his face. His skin was red and cracked, blood streaking the white soap bubbles. No matter how much he washed, he never felt clean. It wasn't just germs, it was the thoughts, those relentless, intrusive thoughts that clawed at his mind. They told him he was a sinner, that he had blasphemed, that he was unworthy of love. Every time a thought crossed his mind, he felt the crushing need to correct himself, to say a prayer, to wash, to atone. "Brandon," his mother called from the doorway, her voice filled with gentle urgency. "You've been in here for over an hour. You'll be late for school." He shook his head, avoiding her gaze. "I can't go. Not like this. People will breathe on me. What if they spit when they talk? What if I say something wrong? I can't." She sighed, the weight of years of worry settling on her shoulders. Brandon's life unraveled like a thread pulled too tight. His dream of joining the special forces faded into the background, replaced by endless rituals and crippling fear. He dropped out of school, avoided friends, and retreated into the confines of his room. His mother, now graying and weary, cared for him as best as she could. "You're stronger than this," she told him one evening, her hand resting lightly on his shoulder. "You can still turn things around." But Brandon only stared at his cracked, bleeding hands. "No, I can't." Years passed. Brandon grew older, and so did his mother. The house, once full of life, became a place of silence, save for the sound of running water and Brandon's whispered apologies to himself. When his mother died, Brandon was left truly alone. He sat in the same chair she used to sit in, the emptiness in the room matching the emptiness in his heart. He was in his 60s now, his body frail, his hands permanently scarred from decades of obsessive washing. One day, staring out the window of his nursing home, a thought struck him like lightning. What have I done with my life? He died shortly after, his regret following him into the afterlife. Brandon opened his eyes to find himself standing in a glowing, endless expanse. Warm light surrounded him, and a voice spoke. A voice like thunder and whispering winds all at once. "Brandon," the voice said gently, "how was your life?" Brandon lowered his head. "It was hard." The voice softened further. "Then why didn't you ask me to make it better?" Brandon's eyes widened. He didn't know what to say. He had spent his life trying to figure it all out on his own, never once thinking to ask for help. Not from his mother, not from anyone, not even from God. The voice spoke again. "I am merciful, Brandon. I want you to know what it is to be human, to experience life as it was meant to be. I will give you another chance." In an instant, Brandon was back in his body, 22 years old, standing at the sink. He looked at his reflection, hope flickering in his chest. This time, he promised himself, things would be different. And for a while, they were. Brandon fought his compulsions. He made it a point to step outside, to face his fears. One day, he even decided to register for school again. He dressed, combed his hair, and stepped toward the door. But then the thoughts came, sharp and sudden. What if you fail? What if you say something blasphemous? What if you're not ready? Brandon froze. "Tomorrow," he told himself. "I'll do it tomorrow." Tomorrow never came. The old fears crept back, stronger than before. The voice returned after his second death. "You still haven't learned, Brandon. I'll give you one more chance." The third time, Brandon tried harder. He fought against his compulsions with every ounce of strength he had, but the thoughts always found a way in. When he stood before the light again, his head hung low. I failed, he whispered. You understand now, don't you? The voice asked. Brandon nodded. I wasted all my chances. I didn't trust you. I didn't trust anyone. The voice was calm, but firm. I gave you 3 chances because I am merciful, but life isn't endless. The world has ended, Brandon. You will never know what it is to truly live, because you spent your time worrying about things that didn't matter. Brandon wept as he watched visions of what his life could have been. Him in a military uniform, proud and strong, laughing with friends over dinner, walking with his mother in a park, both of them smiling. The light surrounded him, warm and forgiving. Do not waste what you are given, the voice said. As Brandon faded into the light, he carried one last thought. If only I had trusted.